Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster and Madam President and distinguished guests. It's a pleasure to be with you today on this beautiful spring day when we have so much moisture, thank God. And it reminds me of something that a Lakota medicine woman told me about 3 weeks ago when I was having a healing with her. And she said that when she was young, she was really suffering and going through a lot of struggle in her life. And her grandfather was talking with her one day and he said, "Honey, there's a beautiful saying in our tribe, and that is that we are born into beauty, as beauty, for a joyful life." And she said that statement changed her whole life, and she's lived by that ever since. She goes around teaching now. And it made me think about what I want to share with you today, which is that I could talk about my suffering that I've gone through in my life, and I could talk about my joy and the beauty that's happened in my life. But what I need more than anything right now in my life is the joy and the beauty. So that's what I'm going to talk about. I grew up in Southern California where it was beautiful all the time, and you know, it never went above, well, it went above 85, but it never went below 65 most of the time, and everything was green. If any of you have lived there, and my dad would take us out every other weekend. We would go either to the desert or the ocean or the mountains, and I totally fell in love with all the birds and the bees. And I would lay on my lawn in the evening on the dichondra and watch these flocks of crows fly over. They would fly like 25 wide for about 2 solid hours. We were just surrounded by orange groves and lemon groves and just cawing and cawing. And I was just in heaven. I loved crows. And I fell in love with, you know, the stars at night. We would sleep out at night a lot and going to the beach and body surfing. So when they told me I had to go to school, it was like, what? And I fought my mom really hard. I would run around the house screaming and crying, and she'd chase after me. And eventually my will was broken, but I inside internalized, I'm going to enjoy my vacations. And so I lived my whole school years for vacation. I couldn't wait till summer and Christmas and Easter break. And that carried on right until college, when all of a sudden here I was faced with, you have to pick a major out of these 15 majors. And I said, I don't want to do any of those things. I don't want to lock myself into some kind of a career, into something rigid that I might not like. And so by the time of my junior year, I was really confused, and I was taking science fiction and mythology and acting and art and, you know, all these amazing classes. And by the time I was done with my junior year, you know, it was the war protest time, and the hippies were out everywhere having a blast, and I said, I'm out of here. And I headed for Northern California, and I went and found this river to live on. And it turns out it was Kimberly-Clark land, but all of us hippies were squatted all up and down the banks of this beautiful river. And I spent that summer learning about things like vegetarianism and astrology and yoga, and living nude all day long, and every night coming together around the campfire and eating Oreos and getting stoned. And it was like, it was heaven. And I realized, wow, you could really live well on this earth, you know, without having to play that game. And I just still wouldn't buy into it. And then that summer ended and winter was coming. I realized, well, I can't stay here. And so I hit the road, and I'm hitchhiking around the country, and this longing in my heart is building. I said, why am I here? You know, I must need to know this. I mean, I know I had to know this for my own self. I had to know it in my heart, in the deepest place possible. Why am I here? What's this all about? It's surely not about these cities and these cars and these careers and all the pollution in LA, which I just had to get out of there. And I was led to a spiritual teacher from India, who I found when I was 23 years old, 22. And he showed me a way to go inside. And I've been practicing that meditation for the last 40 years. Every day for about an hour, I sit down and I do these 4 techniques he showed me, and it just gives me a beautiful foundation that I live my day off. And it's not perfect, you know, by any means. I've struggled and I've suffered over those years, but I always have that foundation that I come back to every day. And listening to him has been beautiful because he only focuses on the joy. He only focuses on how do you stay in harmony with who you really are. And he talks about how we are an infinite being, that, you know, looking out of this eyes. There's something infinite there. It's not that we're just these bodies that are going to go in the ground someday. And all of our pursuits and all this effort we make, you know, it's like, what's it really all for? You know, if it's not for that we're born as beauty, into beauty, for a joyful life. And I've tried to live that way in my adult life, and luckily, because I've I keep remembering this. I mean, I attracted a job for the last 27 years where I work 100 days a year, you know, make 100,000 a year, and I am able to raise a family and always go mountain biking and river rafting and into the woods, and you know, and that's just been a blessing, a total blessing. I don't know how that happened, but I think, you know, we do get what we believe. We do create our own lives, as Dave said, and I think it's been a real blessing that I've been able to create that in my life. And now I'm entering the last years of my life, just gone through a divorce, and I'm just so troubled about climate change. I just can't believe we're going to do this to the earth. You know, I cannot friggin' believe that the oceans are warming, the ice caps are melting, and water's in jeopardy, and all the forests of the world are in jeopardy, all the seas are in jeopardy, all the species on the planet. And I'm just going, it's because we don't get it. Because I don't get it. That it's really, it was given to us for beauty. It was given to us for beauty. It was given to us for joy. And the other species get it. And we got to come together and get it. You know, it's like that we're here for so much joy and so much beauty, but we can't trash it. You know, we can't soil up the nest that we live in. And so I'm hoping that maybe I can do something for my community by being a speaker. That's why I'm here at Toastmasters. I want to learn like how to get up in front of a crowd and say something that might have some meaning and value to somebody without being in my ego and being, you know, thinking I'm better than anybody else. But just, wow, like how can we celebrate this life? So, born into beauty, has beauty for a joyful life. Thank you very much.